share my screen. All right. Yeah, so this is what we did yesterday. This is something we did yesterday. So yesterday we did some basic operations like validations. We did some validations yesterday, and then by using what you call it, the ASP.NET validation controls. Okay, so I don't see where is yeah, it is member. So we just use the ASP.NET validation control to see the validations that you can apply onto your form, right? So today I'm just going to show you how you can perform a basic CRUD operation that we have been doing so far till now. But again, that's not a very good idea of doing this theorem with the wave. Later on to the programming part, I'll be teaching you how to use the interfaces and the abstract class, and there might be the interview questions like what is abstract class, what is interfaces, under what case you should use the abstract class, what is the case that you'll be using interfaces. So these are interview frequently asked questions that will be asked during an interview. It's a very important question. So let me try to begin with the very simple stuff like making a CRUD operations. So basically you need to design a database before you begin your before you begin your systems, before you start writing your code. So first of all, what I will do is I'll just create a database, and I will link my database to my front-end application, and then I'll be writing a edu.NET code into a different project. All right now, so let me just go and create a database. You can see my application. Oh, sorry, again, I forgot to make it responsive. I'll come back to the web making it responsive, so don't worry. Okay, so let me go and create my database. Okay. So let me actually, I think already I have one. I have a query written, so let me just select this query. You already know how to create a tables and everything. So there is user ID, there is first name, last name, date of birth. Okay, so there is no contact number here. So actually I wanted a contact number here as well. Okay. So let me start it from a scratch. Let me create a new database first. Let me create a new database. Let me make it library online. Library online DB. So we have to remember this name, library online DB, because already there are other databases as well. Yeah, so let me see, this must be somewhere at the below of your database screen. Let me create a new query. And now we can start creating a database. So I will just write create table, user table, use like first name, last name. This is not null. Last name, this is also not null. Date of birth, let me put it that time. This should not be null. Let me put email address. This should be not null and this should be unique. One thing I forgot here is to mention the data type. Let's put a varchar of 100, 200. So you don't run out of space. Let us put a password now. Password varchar, and let us put it at 100 characters. That's fine. So it, yeah, password is also not null. We don't want it to be null. All right now. So let me just expand this now. These are the information that I would need here. First name, last name, date of birth, email address, password, and confirm password. We don't need to pass confirm password to avoid the duplication of the data. Let me execute this. My program executed, my table executed. Now I have a table inside. online library DB, whose name is user table. So now correspondingly I will create a stored procedure here. So create procedure sp underscore manage users, and again I'll be repeating the stuff that I have done earlier. We need to define all those parameters equal to stored procedure parameter. First name. You can see I have no username here. So this is okay. Username is email address. Okay, fine. First name varchar, I'll say 100. Last name is varchar 100. Date of birth. All right. Email address. This is varchar of 200. Password. One more variable. What you want to do. If at the rate mode equals to 1, then I want to make an insert operation. So I want to make first name, last name, date of birth, email address, password. The values are the rate first name, date of birth, email address, equals to true. Then we want to perform an update operation, update user table. Set first name, last name should be equal to the rate last name, birth should be equal to the rate date of birth. Should be equal to the rate address. Password should be equal to the rate password, where user ID should be equal to the rate user ID. Done with the update operation. And finally, if what equals to 3, then we want to perform a delete operation. So delete table where user ID equals to the rate user ID. Let me execute this start procedure. And there is an error somewhere. So let me see where is the error. So must declare that this variable at the user ID. So maybe I have not. Okay, I have forgot to define user ID. So let's define user ID. See whether I have created this user ID. Okay, I have not created here. Very. Just drop this table, recreate this table. Recreate this table again. Execute this table now. Let me execute this start procedure again. And the command is completed successfully. That means I start procedure is absolutely ready. So now let me go to the object explorer and let me see whether my stored procedure is done or not. So let me go to programmability. Let me go to stored procedure and let me see. Okay, the stored procedure is ready here. Now I need to link it to my main form, my project. So what I can do is I can simply go to my Visual Studio environment. So first of all, let me make a connection. Right click, add connection. server name is still a local server, and this is now library online DB test connection. That's okay. Click OK. Perfect. So connection done. So let me right click on this, go to property. Let me select this connection string, Control A, Control C. Let me go to Solution Explorer. Now I'll be creating a different project. So right click, add, and I'll be creating a different project today. New project again, and I'll be choosing a class library, and I'll be making it a data access library. Data access. So this is my data access library. I want to rename my class to connection class, so rename this property to connection class. And before I move on to making this some changes here, what I need to do is I need to add something in the app.config file, which is add name. Then start configuration, we have something called connection string, and we want to add name. Add name equals to, you can have anything. This DV connection is just the name of my connection. You could be having anything. You could have any connection name. You can put any name. You need to remember it. I put it here, so my connection is coded inside my web.config file, which I'll be accessing in my class. So before I access my class, I need to include a reference file, and the reference file is your system.configuration. So let me see system.configuration. Yeah, so this one I need to include this namespace here. This is not here by default, so let me include this here. I can repeat my old process, the public static string. Then we have system.configuration manager string. So this is how we are reading the connection string from your web.config file, db connection. My connection string, and this is being returned by this connection string, and which is another connection class, which, and since this is static and don't need to create object for this connection string, let me build my solution, and you can see build it succeeded here. So that means my job is done here. All right, now let me go to Solution Explorer. Let me go to the data access layer. Right click on this. Let me create a class. And let me name this class as a user class. Later on, I'll be creating interfaces. So let me include all those necessary namespace using system.data. Using system.data.SQL point. Data.SQL point. Okay. This is public class, and let us say we want to create public bool. You can have any method, or you can simply not have even method, but we can use some alternative ways, which I'll be discussing in my video session. And users, I'll be creating a video how you can have a multiple way of doing the same thing. Right now I'll just create a complete video file. First name, last name, email address. So I just forgot here one thing. I guess I just forgot here one thing. That thing, that's a DOB. So let me see if let me go to my Solution Explorer library online. Let me go for the start procedure. Let me check my start procedure. There is a DOB. First name, last name, and there is a DOB here. So let me just pin this up. Let me get it down. Make it more readable. Yeah. So last name, I need a date of birth. So let me just put date time. Okay, so we need to also need to have a SQL connection here. So very important job. Do not forget to have a try catch. 10. Now here you can have SQL command to execute a stored procedure. So you have sp_manage users. You need to specify the command type. With value, and this is at the rate, let's say user ID. Date of birth. Date of birth. You have now email address. Password. I think I forgot one parameter here, that's mode, so let me pass it here. Mode, and that's mode here. Okay, so we passed all those parameters here. Now we need to execute the query, so let me open the connection, execute the query. Let me close the connection. And I can check if result is greater than 0, return true, else I can just return false. Done. Let me save this all work and let me build this up. Okay, the build is succeeded. Now let me go to my users form, and here I have already clicked on this create button. Still, let me just go to designer and let me make sure that I have already clicked this create button. Okay, so there is a create button option here. But before I have to do this, I need to include a reference file here. I need to include a reference file into my this project. So right click, add reference. I need to include the project reference here. So solution data access library has to be included onto my project. So I can now using data access library. All the object of user class. So user class object. Now I can use a try catch exception method. Throw I need to do ex here, and I will display that error in somewhere else. So here now I can write my logic now. So bool result equals to now uc.manage users, and you need to pass all those parameters. So id is 0, txt first name dot text, sorry, txt name dot text. It is data time, daytime. So let me just pull. Okay, so let me just data pass. Dav.text, text email address, and mode is one for making an insert operation. So let me make it more readable here, so that I can read my code. Okay. So now once if result is successful, let's say if result double equals to true, that means my value is set. Then I can just right now I can just do a response dot write user successfully created, and I'll just manage it later on. User successfully Otherwise, there's an error message here. Error in performing the required operation. All right. Let me just see how it looks now. Let me see how it looks first. Let me save this all work and let me run and check how it looks. Okay, so let me go over here. Let me put first name as Ram Sarma. Address ram.sarma@gmail.com. Password Ram. Let me just click on create user, and you can see there is an option here, user created successfully at this point of time. This is coming because of response start right. We are getting this because of response start right, this one. So user has been created, but we are not able to view it here. So let me make it more managed. Let me make it more managed here. How to make it more managed? I would like to display onto that level control here rather than displaying it somewhere else. So let me go to the source code of this one, and just below of this table, let me have one another tr, another td, sp label, message, server, and text will be this one. So only text for now. So this one from our user. Four columns. All right, now. So this is my label LBL message. So I'll display the error message here or any sorts of message at this level. So let me go to design one. Now instead of this, let me just go here. Let me go here and I can just write LBL message dot text equals to successfully created, and dot for color will be equal to green. System dot drawing dot color dot green. So this is the way you apply a color to a ASP.NET waveforms control. So here also I can write LBL message dot text equals to error in performing the required operation. Then you can just write LBL message.for color equals to red. I want to display in red color. Moreover, I just want to change some style of this one. I want to change some style. So let me change some. Let me apply a CSS here. The CSS class will be equal to different, a bit of bigger size font. So let me run and check how it looks. Yeah, so let me put Alice Sabra 1990 Ali.Sabra. Let me create, and you can see now this is created successfully here. All right, now we are able to create a user and display the message as well onto a level control. Now what I want to do is I want to display the users onto my dashboard. Okay, I want to display the user onto my form here. So let us see how you can do that. Is again we'll repeat the old traditional concept right now. So I'll just create a data table, create a data table here, get users, and repeat the traditional concept like I have been doing it. Try catch exception ex, throw ex, finally connection. All right, and here I can now have table dt equals new data table and return dt. The SQL command Let's start from user table connection. SQL data reader or SQL data adapter. Let me use data reader. Yeah, so DT connection has been closed. I loaded all my users onto my data table. Let me build this. Let me build this. Now this is already built. Now let me go to again the user .aspx file, and here below the table or below this div I can take another div, and I can take let's say style equals to it to 100%, and here I will take a grid view, ASP grid view, id equals to gv users, and this is not equals to 7, and this is going to consume a width of 100%. Let me save this, and now let me go to the design part to apply some style to this grid view. So let me go to the design part and let me just choose this as some, let me apply some format. Okay. Okay, this is okay. Let me click apply and let me click OK. And let me write the code behind this one. So first of all, I'll write that on the code page load event. So whenever the page loads, I want to display all those users. So I just can make gv users dot data source should be now equal to uc.get users. And here you need to write one more code, which is bind data binding. So gv users dot data bind. You need to data bind here. We can copy this code and we can bring it to a button click event when the save operation is successful. Now you can run and check this operation. And if everything goes fine, you will get users here on your table. So you can see you have a user ID, first name, last name, date of birth, email address, and the password onto your data grid view. So let us create any more. Let's say any other user, for example. Okay, Christopher. And you get the users here, Christopher. All right, now you can see I can see there is a this header is not appropriately aligned. Okay, I just want to manage this header more appropriately. You can do that. You can do that here. So let me go over to the design mode and let me see how I can maintain this. Let me right click on this and let me click on edit columns. So whatever the fields I have, maybe I have, let's say, I don't know how many fields I had. Yeah, here I have first name, last name. Let me just go to yeah, bound field, first name, last name, date of birth, email address, and password. So these are the fields that were required. Now you can change this field. For example, this is a header text. So what I want to apply in the header text is simply a user ID, user space ID, user space ID. I want to apply user space ID here. Okay. This one I want to name this. I just want changing the header text now, and the second one is, let's say, first name, first space. Second one, the third one is last name, last space name. Then you have date of birth. So let me put date of birth. Then you have password at the end. So let me just put password. Okay, all right. Now let me just put the binding value to these fields. So there is something called data field. So this is a user ID. This is a first name. So let me just put a first name. exactly matching to the database. This is last name. This must exactly match to the database. Date of birth. This one is password. So let me change the header style of each. Horizontal align to this. Okay, left. This has to be in the middle. Same here, header style. To the left. This is to the middle. So let me put header style. To the left. And this is to the middle. Okay, let me just click OK. And still you can see there are some unnecessary columns. First of all, let me run and show you what exactly is happening out here. You can see we have some unnecessary columns. You have user ID, first name, last name, date of birth, password. Again, you have user ID, first name, last name, date of birth, email address, and password. So you have unnecessary fields here. So let me show you how you can avoid those unnecessary fields. So these are some auto-generated columns. So let me go to this property of this grid view. And there is an option of auto-generated columns, which is set to true here. Let me set it to false. Once you do that, your unnecessary columns will be gone. Let me run this again. And you can see now we have appropriate columns now. We have first name, last name, date of birth, and the password. You can see there is some Apple, there is some very good space. Okay, and again you can apply some of the property. Let us try out how you can just have them change the property. For example, you can just change the header style. You can change the font and everything. So you can change, let's say, size. Actually, let us put a size, a common size of, let's say, let me just do one thing how it looks first, and then we can, let me put it larger. Let me see how. Okay, this is somewhat larger than the other. So let me run and check. So we can apply for the remaining, or you can apply a font size. So a bit bigger than the other one, and this looks better. So let me just change this one to other also the same. Let me go and click on the edit columns, and let me choose this first name, and let me just go to header style, and let me choose the font. Where is that font? Font size to large. This one also, header style. Where is that? Okay, header style, font size. Where is that? Size to large. Let me select this one. I cannot select time. Header style. So this is something very trouble. You can apply a CSS better. So instead of applying to each of them, you can apply a CSS onto the grid view. That would be more effective. So let me just go to the size, large, last one, header style. Where is that? Font size is large. Let me see if everything has been applied. Yeah, that everything has been applied here. You could send the color and everything here. So let me run and check. Yeah, so first one, it's changed and it looks more beautiful actually. This looks much better than our previous work. Okay. Now there are two ways that you can make an update operation or delete operation here. So one of the ways by simply having a your customs edit button here or delete button here, or by using a SQL data source. So for today, I'll be teaching you how to have a SQL data source here. When this button is clicked, we'll be redirecting to the different forms, and we'll be creating a grid view through which you can make an edit and delete operation directly from your SP.NET forms without writing a code here. So let me just go and do that part first. So for that, let me just go to Solution Explorer and let me go to the master page, right click on it, and let me create add content page here, and let me change it to edit users. Let me rename it to edit users. Edit users.aspx. And here, let me take a div. Style equals to width needs to be 100%. Take let's say grid view. Grid view again here. ID equals to gv edit users. Yeah, for edit. Also, we need to have width equals to 100%. I have just taken a grid view into a different form where I'll be creating an option to edit and delete this grid view. So let me build this first, and let me go to the design mode, and let me show you how you can do the work here. So I'll be using a SQL data source. We have a different types of data source available: SQL data source, object data source, link queue data source. So there are different sub data source. So I'll be now using a SQL data source for now. So let me go to, where is my design part? Okay, design is here. Okay. Let me click on here, and let me just choose the auto format option. Let me choose any one, anything that looks beautiful to us. Okay, this was already applied. Let me apply this one. Okay. Again, let me just choose the data source, new data source. And you can see there are different types of data. One is a database, one is an entity, one is link queue, object, sitemap, XML file, and you have so many types of database. So now I'm just going to take a database now, SQL data source. We can make it, let's say, user data source. Okay. And you need to have your database name listed out here. So that's a library online DB, and this is going to create a connection string for you. This one. Next, you need to set this connection string. So let's save, and we are getting it here, all the list of the fields that you want to apply on. So let me click on advanced now, and there is the option to make a generate, insert, update, and delete statement. Let's just take this option. Let's click next. Let's test the query. You have these values here. Let me click finish, and now you have an option to enable paging. So let me enable paging editing, and let me have an enable option of enable deleting as well. All right. So I have an option now to make an insert and update and delete operation here. So now let me go to the users.aspx file. Let me go to the design view of this. Let me click on this edit user button, and let me redirect to the different form. So response.redirect. I want to redirect to the page called edit users.aspx. All right. So let me see what happens on this case here. So let me press Ctrl F5. And if I click on this edit user, you will be redirected to this page where you can have an edit and delete option. So you can edit You can edit this one. It's a RAM at the rate. So RAM at the rate 321. You can click on update. If you want to delete some fields, let's say you can simply delete field from here. So it's pretty straightforward. So let me go to users. Let me create some users. Let's say dummy user. Dummy at the rate. And you can see the user is reflected onto your grid view. All right, now so you have now you can easily create a edit form with the help of the SQL databases. But the problem here is the code will be generated. A lot of code will be generated here. For example, if you go to the design mode and if you go to the source mode here, you can see the code is automatically generated somewhere. You can see, okay, this was the bound field, I guess. So I think where our, yeah, in edit user, sorry. So if I go to source here, you can see the fields are data field ID, this error text. You can change here. You can also change, make some modifications here. For example, I just want to modify here, here. What I want to modify here. Text can be modified here. You can change the font color and everything through your okay. So there are some automatically generated fields here. So if you want to go into more advanced, so this grid view is very much complex and advanced in ASP.NET, very much advanced. So let me go to okay. So already you can see now you have some ample spaces here. You can change the font color, anything that you want here. You can change anything. So let me again make it more meaningful here. So let me just go to the design mode of this one. Just let me go to the design mode of this one. Let me select this one. Let me go to properties. Let me go to the font and everything. You can change. You can have a complete control of this one in your on your hand. Let me go to font. Let me just change the font size to, let's say, somewhat large. So this will become somewhat large. So we have a horizontal align, let's say, to the left. Everything will come align to the left. Header, let me see, header. Let's see, so for header, I think you have to go, you can also change alternating rows, default color also, you can change any color that you would like to have. You can see the border color as well, border style also you can change. Let's say you can put a solid, you can apply a CSS class here. The horizontal align is left, vertical align as the middle. Okay, so we have now, you can apply cell padding, cell spacing, everything that you want to apply here, you can apply through this one. Okay. Okay, so let me just save this work. Run it again and let me see what changes really happened here. And you can see this looks more better. This looks more professional now. So you can make an edit and delete operations on this. So looking more better, more professional. So you can have an edit option, delete option without writing a single piece of code. Also at the same time, if you really want to write a code, also you can write a code here. So if you want to write a code onto your form, so let us say you want to implement a code here. So you could also add a button here. For example, you could just click on this edit option, edit columns, and you could check some, let's say, you can check some command field, or command field. You can click add. You could change the. Let me just make it to top. You could make it to, let's say, select. For example, let us make this to select. Also make it to header style. again to the left, vertical line to the middle. Okay. So let me set and see. Okay, actually I didn't have the select option here. Okay, let me just see how it didn't happen. So I could be having a select option. Let me just put edit columns. Okay, so that's a bound field, hyperlink image button field. I don't know why this. Okay, this is a command field. Sorry, this is this one. Select add. Let me remove this. Delete this one. Let me just take this off. Select. You can have header style equals to, let's say, just want to center, sorry, to the left, and this one also to the left, mirror. Okay, so you can have a select option here as well. So let us run and check. F5. So you can have a selection. So you can click on this and you can have a value populated onto your corresponding text boxes, and you can on edit button click, you would also make some edit operation here. So that is absolutely possible here, absolutely possible, not difficult at all. So that can be done. You can have a delete button here, and you could be also you could also be able to perform delete operation. For example, let me go to user.spx here, go to design mode, not here, this one, user.spx. So here I could be having another button. Go to source. So where is that button? Yeah, here. Yeah, button here. So let me take this button. So edit. Yeah, let me copy this. Let me just take a button here. ASP button. Edit. It equals to server. Text equals to delete user. So you can have a delete option here as well. So on that delete button click, you could delete the field, whichever field are selected here. So for selected, you need to write some, let's trigger some event. So events are like, let's say, let me give a try, but I have forgotten those part, but let me see if I can show you that. Okay, so that was somewhere onto the user is that users yeah. So let me go over here, let me go to properties, let me go to the event, and there is some event called row selected event. So there are different ways that you can do. Actually, I just need to remember one of them. Row created, row bound, no. Row deleted, row deleting, row editing, row updating, selecting this. Not exactly this one. I just need to check this out, whichever is applicable, and I can come back to that to the next session. But at the same time, we could be having a click on this, and you can have a value populated onto your, let's say, this corresponding text boxes. So I just forgot exactly the one which is applicable here. I will show you that in the next session. So in the meantime, now if you have any questions, confusions related to this today's session, please do let me know, anyone. If you have any questions, confusion related to today's session, then please do let me know. Any question, anyone, related to today's session?
No, sir.
Okay, so I think you better try